We recorded an absolute banger of a podcast last night, and for unfortunate circumstances, it will never see the light of day. So I've woken up this morning feeling like I've just lost a family member. Genuinely, I feel like I could flipping cry my eyes out. So cheers, Danny TDW. Thank you, man. Luckily, I've got no life, so I didn't actually miss out on doing anything else. But yeah, anyway, today, let's talk about this. I think it's fair to say the most recent era of Doctor Who didn't go the way that they planned. And if it did, then bloody hell, what were they thinking? But I think there's one thing that happened right at the beginning of the era that completely screwed up the chances of it working at all. And that's this motherfricker right here. Space Babies. Now, for those who don't know, the original plan for Space Babies was for it to air on New Year's Day, 1 week after the Church on Ruby Road, which I actually think it might even have been Boxing Day, like literally the day after, I'm not too sure. But anyway, within vicinity of Christmas Day, when the Church on Ruby Road aired, following up that, within the next couple of days, there was going to be Space Babies, and it was going to be a big continuation, and it was branded as like the big Doctor Who winter. We were going to have the 60th specials, the 3 60th specials, the 1 Christmas special, and the 8 episode series. And that obviously didn't work. For whatever reason, production troubles, post-production delays, last-minute rewrites, who knows. But that meant that Space Babies got pushed back to May. Now, this is the problem with starting with a Christmas special. It has many positives, because if you start with a Christmas special on Christmas Day, loads of people are going to watch it, especially coming off the high that was the David Tennant heroin that they got given in November. They'll come back, they'll give it a go on Christmas Day and see what's up. And the viewing figures for the Church on Ruby Road were very high, so that obviously did work. The problem then comes with the delay of Space Babies, because you can't just delay the Church on Ruby Road as well, because that's a Christmas special. The problem here is that when the series launches in May now, people are going to think that Space Babies is season 1 episode 1, which is what it was labelled as, and normally with the season 1 episode 1 you don't need any prior context. However, the Church on Ruby Road was labelled as the 4th special and not season 1 episode 1 or season 1 episode 0, meaning that people were coming onto the show for the first time and seeing Space Babies. Literally an essential watch of the Church on Ruby Road is needed before you watch Space Babies, because it picks up right where that left off, so it makes no sense for new viewers. It's a mess. They probably had like contracts and schedule reasons for why they couldn't do this, but genuinely, if I was in charge, I would have just delayed it. I genuinely would have delayed it for a whole year. I'd be like, we've had our 4 specials this year, give it another year, we'll start up then and see what happens, because genuinely it's so important. I think that should have aired. Space Baby should have aired in January. Starting your season 1 episode 1 of a new era for a show, starting off with an episode where you have to have seen the one before, which isn't labelled as episode 1 already, it's just going to confuse people, let alone the talking babies with the awful CGI mouths and the pretty much non-existent plot. It's really not good. I don't blame Russell. Look, he wrote Space Babies, which isn't a great episode, but he also wrote, like, I don't know, some other crap episodes along the line. I don't think Space Babies is too far off the traditional RTD episode 2 episodes. That makes sense. Like, New Earth is obviously a way better episode than Space Babies, but it isn't like, it fits the same vibe to me. I feel the same about that. The End of the World, it's not great. It's good. I quite like it because I watched it as a kid, but like, it's not like a 10/10 brilliant episode, although the ending is very good with Jabe the Tree. Absolutely love Jabe the Tree, and she's flipping fit as well. But I imagine at this point, Russell knew that this was the beginning of the end. I think he could tell starting with Space Babies wasn't a bad idea, because he's not an idiot. He's actually quite smart. People like to brand him as this idiot who thought that the era was marvellous and nothing went wrong. He's just doing that for PR. He could definitely tell that waiting 5 months for Space Babies and launching with that would definitely not be the right move. They also had the Devil's Cord released on the same day as Space Babies, and I think this is due to the fact that they knew Space Babies was a bit of a dud. However, why didn't they just release like Boom instead? Boom was one of the fan favourites of that series. I think it's just because people really took a dislike to Russell. They were like, oh, the one Stephen wrote was the best of the series. Like, Boom isn't the best of that series, but they could have opened with Space Babies and boom, there's no reason why they couldn't do that. Especially because in the Devil's Cord, there's a 6 months time jump for no reason whatsoever that's never explained. And I think the Devil's Cord was meant to, this is just rumours that I've heard, was meant to air later in the series anyway. I think it was meant to be where Rogue was, because obviously Maestro's there like, the one who waits is almost here, and it's like, well, no, it's episode 2, we've still got like the whole series ahead of us at this point.
The one who waits is almost here.
Huh?
it just would have made sense to, if you're gonna put 2 episodes out because the first one's a bit of a dud, like, put out a good one, put out Dot and Bubble, 73 yards. Like, I know that's a bit of a dodgy one, it's not really what the show's going for, so it wouldn't have been like my first choice, but if you need to grasp those viewers, get them in the palm of your hand and be like, stay and watch this show, because they did. People watched Space Babies, thought, oh, maybe this isn't for me, but I'll watch the next one, then saw like Maestro, which is like, I like Maestro, but it isn't like a massive, great, monumental character in a mediocre episode. Like, if they'd have been shown Boom, which is a really great episode, or 73 Yards, which is really uncanny and quite weird and quite mature, or even Dot and Bubble, which like is a bit, throughout the whole thing they might be thinking this is a bit crap, but then the racism realization bit at the ending is so good. Like, I really think any other episode this series would have worked better to try and make Space Babies look less of a dud than The Devil's Cord. It just makes no sense to me. All I can think about is that there might have been some contract thing why they couldn't have done that, but I don't know. And releasing at midnight didn't help as well. I've not written any bullet points for this. But basically, how I record these videos, fun fact, literally just 5 bullet points and I waffle. That's the way to do it. The final thing is the 60th specials and the Church on Ruby Road. The 60th specials should have 100% been separated from this. Now, there was something going on with BBC funding there that it was like it wasn't properly funded by Disney, the 60th specials. I think Disney funded like the camera upscaling or something. I'm not sure if this is 100% true, but from what I've heard, like most of the 60th specials were funded by BBC Studios or BBC or some other funding somewhere else that wasn't Disney. So they should have separated it, either had it on iPlayer as its own thing, Doctor Who's 60th specials, or have it at the end. It would have made more sense to bookend the 2020 or 2005 to 2022 era of the show to have it in there. I was so shocked when they didn't do that, and then have Christmas special, Church on Ruby Road, be the first thing that's there on this new era. We can't have the first thing on the new era be Once Upon a Time, Lord. No, we can't do that. Who knows? Maybe it goes deeper than this. I mean, there are a lot of things that went wrong in this era, but I genuinely think this was the kickstart of like, oh god. I mean, maybe the Goblin song turned people away, but I think the Goblin song is pretty freaking class. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think this played a big part in it? Do you not? Let me know in the comments. I've already said that. If you're on mobile, near the comments, there's a button that says hype, so if you push the hype button, it means the absolute world. If you're new around here, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, drop a dislike if you didn't enjoy, subscribe if you're new with the notification bell on. You get notified every single time I post, which is 4 times a week: Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Ooh, I'm doing the robot, yeah. If you want to help me out money-wise, you can leave a super thanks in the comments, or you can become a channel member. Channel members get perks like your name at the end of every video, or you get early access to review videos, bonus Q&A, stuff like that. Or super thanks, you get your name at the end of the next video, one-time payment, do what you want, don't have to do any of it. You can walk away from this channel, never come back. You can leave me a really nasty comment if you really, really want to, but please don't, because I'm a sensitive guy. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Ta-ra.